Now, this morning, I have the privilege of having a conversation that really needs to be had. We need an update on what has been happening at sea with that Gulfstream vessel. And this morning, as we get that update, we're talking with Mr. Allan Stewart, who is the director for TEMA. Good morning, Mr. Stewart, and welcome back to Tobago Updates, and welcome to my show. Good
The
morning,
pleasure is
President.
mine to be here, and to all our listening public, I want to say good morning to you all as well out there.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you, but the last thing that we heard was that the badge was removed
Yes.
from out at sea. So since then, tell us what has happened out there in regards to that Gulfstream vessel where we saw that oil spill happen earlier this year in February.
That is an indication that the inventory has been completed as it was established, and probably it may be useful for me to reiterate, stating that the salvaging of the vessel, there was a division of responsibilities as it relates to Operation Gulfstream. Let me start there. And the Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries stay with the responsibility of the vessel based on what obtains in the National Oil Spill Contingency Plan. So yes, the vessel on the 20th, if my memory serves me well, the vessel was towed, which will be considered to be the salvaging of the vessel, and taken that was the plan all along, that they will try with the engagement of some experts, international and otherwise, to move the vessel, to do the salvaging of the vessel, move it off. That was the part of the plan as it relates to the three major areas to where we talk about containment, abatement, and combativeness in terms of how we combat this situation. So the vessel is now, I took a journey of 30 hours, and I would I feel very elated about the situation in the sense that there is some level of success. I want to take this opportunity to thank the Tobago public for their patience, their understanding, and how we would have dealt with this in a very mature area. I know in some quarters there may have been some level of secrecy around the activities, but what we have tried to do at TEMA is to be very upfront through portals and media to ensure that the Tobago public is kept abreast with all of the developments that has taken place or continue to take place in regards to Operation Gulfstream.
Right. And have you had any of those conversations with the central government and the Ministry of Energy in regards to that International Oil Pollution Fund?
While the answer is yes, I just want to put it in the context. We recognized very early, just around probably the first month of the exercise itself, we had the visit of Petrobras, which would have a similar country out of Brazil, which would have similar experience in Brazil, where they would have had a similar occurrence. And they would have guided us effectively. And these were discussions coming out from the from high government level, where they would have, through the ODPM, they would have reached out to us and say, listen, we have these people, they had a similar experience, so they visited the country and say, we want to help, let you know what you're going into. And that happened. The conversation in regards to be very specific, it is through the Ministry of Energy, and we work in accordance with the National Oil Spill Contingency Plan and the Tobago Oil Spill Contingency Plan. So our communication vein is directly with the central government, so to speak, body from a disaster management perspective. Is through the ODPM and also through the Ministry of Energy, who has the responsibility under the National Oil Spill Contingency Plan.
Right. So is it that a particular allocation from that oil pollution fund will be given to TEMA to, help with some of those
Yeah. So in
outstanding
context
fees?
again, in regards to the claims, the National Oil Spill Contingency Plan advises what happened with ITOF. We would have seen them come in, which is the the International Tankers Association for Oil Spills around the world. They would have visited us very early o'clock as well. The government would have reached out to the International Oil Spill Pollution Fund organization. They visited us, and also the Tobago House of Assembly would have set up what you call oil spill relief committee to deal with those persons who would have been affected. The committee's mandate spoke specifically to fisher folks and fish-related activities. For example, you have fisher folks, people who fish, you have retailers, you have processors, you also have persons who are in the retail industry would have been impacted one way or the other. Then you have fishing persons who owned these crafts also had crew members. It's like, okay, I'm running a business. The business is mine, but I also have staff members. So those crews, we in our investigation, the committee set up by the Tobago House of Assembly, recognized that there are those persons as well that were affected, and as a result of that, those activities. So the answer is yes, but in a very, I need to guide it. It's the funds is not coming per se to TIMA, but TIMA has played an integral role in the process as well.
So let's say, for instance, when we look at that $50 million that was sent to the THA for that oil spill relief.
That needs to be corrected. The $50 million was not sent for the oil spill relief. They are bills accumulated that as a result of the response to the oil spill. And therefore, it's all shared in that one pie. So as you would have heard the minister indicated that the bills, so while here in the THA, we would have estimated the cost of the event itself to amount to some $100 and something million. The minister would have made a claim that he only saw bills for up to 50 million or 50 something million dollars. And therefore that $50 million is to augment and also to cover all. So when I say all, not just fisher folks, but also bills that are outstanding as a result of the response activity.
But that money was separate and apart from what I am guessing will be distributed from the International Oil Pollution Fund.
Yeah,
how do we draw the line between what is allocated for what was billed for, as opposed to what was given to Tobago by the international organizations to help deal with a number of contractors for who payments are still outstanding in dealing with this crisis that took place earlier this year?
Okay, I think it's imperative that I put it into context again. The International Oil Spill Contingency Fund, based on the submission of the damage assessment and projection by the Tobago House of Assembly, the central government uses that information, take it to the International Fund, and the International Oil Spill Fund recognize it. They met with us, and that's the way of how they reclaim their losses and monies extended. I hope you catch that. Right, so it's a matter of you spend their money, and there are claims to be met. So the government can go to these bodies and say, listen, this happened, this is the cost of the damages, and this is what we are trying to recruit. This is what we are trying to get back. This is what these are what our projections look like. So, and there are other avenues as well. For example, related to the oil spill contingency compensation fund, you also have the persons who have been affected, businesses, boat owners, who may have had damages. They are free to approach the international body as well. When we had these consultation, the committee met with the persons who are managing the fund. the international body, and they were part of the consultation, and they were able to advise the persons who were there at the consultation. Listen, you can access the fund if you feel that is necessary. You can do that as well. So those are two main avenues.
Right. So you were also in New York during that discussion?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So again, the 11-man committee is chaired by myself. For example, it comprised of lawyers, a lawyer, persons from the Division of Fisheries or the Department of Fisheries, and also other interest persons, people who are skilled at finance and analysis.
Right.
So it's a 11-man committee that is strengthened by the various expertise that they bring to the table in
Right.
order to manage this process. Is one that is very painstaking in the sense that you have to set up the systems, and we have meetings once per week. Every Tuesday, like clockwork, we have these meetings where the committee comes together and look at the claims that people are making, and making sure that the criteria set based on what is advised or guided by the international body. Because there is one twist to this. You can, if your claims are not legit, the international body will not recognize it. So the government will not get back their money.
But I remember that the minister had said that they made a claim for something, around 30 million US when they had that conversation in New York from what the media has put out there. So there is a discrepancy between what was requested and what was given to the THA. How do we, reconcile that?
Well, I think one of the things that the may have failed to do, the government, and while releases or media discussions sometimes don't always carry the accuracy of the situation, and one can easily understand that. You also have to understand the process. The process is one where there is an estimated cost of this in terms of its projection to go up to over 100 and something million TT dollars. The THA in the first instance, where response to the bills sent in by persons who were working were able to cover a certain amount of bills for the first month of the operations. Then by that time they were waiting on the central government to send funds to augment what the bills will climb into. I repeat that the minister in his pronouncement indicated that he saw a figure, but only saw bills to the tune of 50,
and I understand
50
that.
million. So the 50 million.
And I totally understand that. And we saw that was a huge conversation happen in the space. But although he said that, he still requested a particular amount from that oil pollution fund. So even though he did not have the requisite, let's say, bills to back it up, so he was confident enough to go before these international bodies to request this particular amount, which we see here was 30 million US dollars. But then he comes back to Trinidad and Tobago and says to the THA that you don't have enough proof to show me that you can be given 150 as was requested.
Well, that's a technical answer that he provided, in the sense that the word bills means something. It means that there is an invoice. A bill can only be submitted for a service that has been provided. So the minister was technical, very technical there, by saying, okay, I'm seeing bills up to X, Y, and Z in terms of a figure. But the point is that in the projection, for example, if you know that this exercise is going to take you 6 months or 3 months, as the case may be, then if you look at the first month, because what we have been doing very skillfully is doing in the course analysis, tracking the course of the event itself. So if month one and month two, the bills are standardized as a particular figure, then you don't expect it to exceed. It may just be able to reduce as the event goes downwards. So it reaches plateau and is tapering off. But you can make those projections. So while we were able to make the projections, understanding based on the advice, based on the technical analysis and projections that will run a figure into 153 million TT dollars, the minister said, I only saw bills. Bills can only be generated as a result of a service rendered.
Already, yes.
But it does not mean that you can make projection into a further billing that will come around. So he was very technical in the answer,
Right.
to be what some may describe as politically correct. But if you examine the statement properly, he used the term bill, or shy away from saying the same thing, invoices.
Right. And but it's good to know that as a Tobagonian, you also sat in on those discussions, because I think that there was the
No, I did not sit down on those discussions, but I'm part of the planning process that where it's generated. For as incident commander, I had a responsibility in terms of guided by the plan to track the course of the event. So I know exactly what were the projections. We were guided by issues such as what will happen in the future, how long this thing will last. And as you can see, now it's 8 months, going close to 8 months that of the we get in there. This is the 8th month of the year. We started this in February the 7th. Just a matter of a few days before Carnival, the Wednesday before Carnival.
Yeah.
So we were able to do those careful analysis going forward, and the international fund is there with their guidance. We know exactly how to approach it, and therefore we are working with the guidance laid out by them. So I don't think there should be any challenges in the future for Trinidad and Tobago getting the necessary funding to take care of their expenses going forward.
All right. And finally, will we ever able to pin down the owner of the vessel?
That is a matter that I personally, and also our plan, our mandate, it's a matter of national security. It's a matter of the maritime division of the Ministry of Works to investigate. It's like the licensing, the role of the licensing on the roadway, where you have a vehicle that may have caused an accident and there were no owners. Nobody owned the vehicle, but it caused serious damages to property, and therefore the division has a responsibility to track down those owners. So it's an ongoing investigation, and something that I shy away from discussing it in public as a result of all that it may entail. So those are questions can be handled at another level. Okay. And therefore I stay away. We stay away from that. I know the investigation is ongoing. I know that the vessel will still be impounded as it has been removed. It's still a vessel or a vehicle under investigation. So MV is motor vehicle.
Yeah, but there was this guy that was online. I think he was on TikTok, and he usually tracks down those vessels, and I think that he had indicated that I think it was either from Nigeria, someone had come forward to claim it or something like that. Was any of that information credible?
I cannot vouch for it. I cannot see. It's not. In other words, we stick to our mandate. Our mandate, as I said in my opening remarks, that is to do the containment, the abatement, and the competitiveness in the oil spill response. That is we coordinate that activity. There's a law enforcement element in it, where the authorities will do the necessary investigations. There was fingerprinting of the oil, so to tie it back to the vessel. So I am quite certain that the expertise are all there, and they will get to the bottom of it eventually. I know the arm of the law is move very slow, but sometimes it's very certain.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, we're going to take a break right here, and we'll be back with lots more conversation. See you soon, right after this. The energy filled the sky.